Happy Sunday, guys. I hope you had or are having a good Sunday. Unfortunately, we have to come back today to discuss another tragedy related to a self conclusion. We talked just yesterday about our beloved Nina Pachoki, who ended her life due to um, just a long uh, drawn out years of turmoil and heartbreak, and just a recent heartbreak with her fiance. And now we are going to be here talking about Gustavo Arnal, 52 years old. He is the CFO of Bed Bath and Beyond. And sadly, he ended his life by jumping off a building in New York, similar to what happened to Chesley Chris. His tragedy relates to financial turmoil, and he had been engaging in some schemes, some dishonest um, dishonesty related to some of the shares and stocks related to Bed Bath and Beyond, and he was facing an ongoing lawsuit because of it. And I think there was going to be a lot of things that were going to be revealed regarding some of the things that he had been doing, and I don't think he wanted to face it, so he took the easy way out, unfortunately, and caused a lot of trauma. And the sad part about this one is his wife saw it all. She had to witness him jump off of the New York building in Manhattan, their apartment, their high-rise apartment. So now his wife has to relive this traumatic experience for the rest of her life. It's so sad. So let's get into the story. Bed Bath & Beyond CFO who leaped to his death from New York's famed Jenga building is accused of a role in pump and dump scheme that artificially inflated value of the flailing company and cost shareholders of $1.2 billion. So this story is really traumatic because I think it was either last week, I think it was last week. Last week, the news outlets reported that Bed Bath & Beyond was facing a financial crisis. They were going to close about 150 of their stores, and they were going to have to lay off a numerous amount of employees. That came out last week. It was pretty sad news. And then all of a sudden, this weekend, the CFO jumps from his Manhattan building and kills himself. So it's like definitely there was a correlation between all of these financial troubles that had caught up to him and some of the dishonesty that he had been engaging in to try to inflate the value of the company, when in reality they were in financial crisis. And all of the dishonest doings that he was doing in conjunction with the financial turmoil that he was facing became too much for him, and he didn't want to face the consequences, so he ended his life. It's so sad. It's so sad. The Word of God says that the love of money is the root of all evil. This is an example of that. When they begin to make money their God, and they put it up on a pedestal, and they value it more than any other thing. And they believe that money is the sole source of their happiness. And so when they start equating happiness with money, when they face a crisis in life and they lose that money, or they're having to face consequences of some dishonesty that they engaged in to acquire money, unfortunately, they feel like because they will lose out on the money that they worship, their life no longer matters. And that is very sad, because it is a flawed view of happiness. As I've mentioned in other videos regarding self-conclusions, the only source that you can find your happiness, I believe in, is God. You cannot find it in money. You cannot find it in fame. You cannot find it in success or accolades or achievements. None of those things, or property or cars or name brand clothes. You can get all those, and I guarantee you, you will not have everlasting happiness with any of those things. Even and also, if you lose it, you'll be even more traumatized because you lost the thing that you thought was happiness or equated to happiness. And this is a prime example of this, where Gustavo put money on a pedestal, and he felt his value was equal to the amount of money he could make for the company and how much riches and prosperity he could acquire. And when he was facing a devastating reality of losing this money, and also going to be losing a lot more money due to the pending lawsuits. And possibly there's going to be a lot of other schemes that were going to be disclosed. I guarantee you guys, there's some skeletons in Gustavo's closet. There's a lot more to this story than what's we're talking about. And hopefully they will reveal that information later on down the line. But there's a lot more to this story, which is what pushed him to do what he did. Because he didn't want the truth to come out, and it was going to start coming out. It started out with them saying that the company is facing financial crisis and that they have no choice but to close 150 businesses or your stores and lay off people. That was the first reality that was exposed to the public. Then two, now he's being sued for some dishonest actions that he engaged in. That was the second disclosure, but there's a lot more, guys. I believe that's lurking under the closet that he didn't want to be exposed, and he didn't want to face it. So instead of trying to be strong enough to face the consequences of his decision, he didn't want to do that. He just ran away from his problems, causing more pain and agony to his own wife, who had to see and watch him jump from the building. Gustavo is 52 years old. He is being sued for allegedly inflating a Bed Bath & Beyond stock price in a pump and dump scheme. The lawsuit was filed August 23rd. That was just a couple weeks ago. Claims a majority shareholder approached Arnal about a plan to control shares of the company so they could both profit. So he was in a conspiracy with another shareholder. As part of the plan, it says Arnal agreed to regulate all insider sales. This guy was engaging in some really sketchy, immoral stuff that he could possibly be on the hook for criminal charges. I think he knew that once the DA got a hold of this stuff, he was going to be facing criminal prosecution and probably have to face some years in prison, if not many years in prison. I don't think he wanted to face that. I really don't. I believe he knew there was going to be more that was going to be disclosed with this lawsuit, and he did not want to face it. He took the coward way out. So as part of the plan, it says he agreed to regulate. You're not supposed to regulate insider sales. That is like unethical and it's illegal. You can't do that. So, yeah, he knew what he was doing. He made this decision. He knew what he was doing. He knew the consequences. And then when he got exposed, he didn't want to face it. It alleges he put out materially misleading statements. Wow. Showing the company's finances were improving to artificially raise the share prices. That's really bad, you guys. That's really bad. You could get charged with criminal charges for that. What he did. And this is, I think that was the prime reason why I think he was running away from that. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Katie Meyer's story. If you guys remember Katie Meyer's story, when we talked about her story, she was facing consequences at her school for getting in a fight. We didn't know the full story, but some people started to disclose that she got into some type of fight. And so she was going to have to face a trial at her school at Stanford, and possibly she could lose out on graduating and maybe even be kicked off the soccer team. And these were like valuable things to her, and she didn't want to face the consequences. So instead, she ended her life. That's what this sounds like. This guy did this same thing. He didn't want to face the consequences. He knew that there were more to come his way, and he ran away. So sad. By the time he sold over 42,000 shares in the company 2 weeks ago, it was valued at $1 million. Whoa. That is so crazy. That's sad. All those people that bought those shares didn't realize that Bed Bath & Beyond was in a huge financial crisis. And it got leaked. It got leaked once they had to close all those companies, and those shareholders started suing. Like, wait a minute, you lied to us. You told us that this company was improving and all these things, and so people started buying the shares, and it was all false. Arnal then took his own life by jumping from the 18th floor of the famous Jenga building in Manhattan's Tribeca neighborhood on Friday. That was just yesterday. Dang. And just this week, you guys, it was this week I remember it was disclosed about the Bed Bath & Beyond financial crisis. This is crazy. That's crazy. The Bed Bath & Beyond CFO who plunged to his death on Friday was being sued for artificially inflating the company's stock prices in a pump and dump scheme to sell off his shares at a higher price, dailymail.com can reveal. I like dailymail.com, you guys, because it seems like the other news reports that I find, they don't give us all the info, but Daily Mail, they be getting some juicy stuff. I'm just saying. Gustavo, 52, is listed as one of the defendants in a class action lawsuit. You guys already know when class action lawsuits are at play, that means there are numerous victims involved, and there is going to be a significant financial loss to the defendants, meaning they are probably going to have to go bankrupt to even try to pay back all of those all of those victims, the plaintiffs. He knew that. He knew he was going to truly go bankrupt. He would lose everything. He would lose that high-rise apartment that he had with his wife. He would probably lose his wife because she would find out all the stuff he was doing. He was going to lose his career because of the dishonesty and the immoral actions he did. And he possibly could have been facing some type of pending criminal charges once the DA learned about this information. I'm not sure if the DA even knew about it. But because of this class action lawsuit, it would raise some alarm to the DA. And once they got a hold of it, he probably would have been facing criminal charges. He knew he was going to be facing all kinds of loss and possible accountability. And yeah, that's why he, in my opinion, he did what he did. So here's a class action lawsuit, guys, brought by a group of shareholders. Those were the victims who claimed they lost around $1.2 billion. Dang, $1.2 billion. When Arnal and a majority shareholder, Ryan Cohen, engaged in a pump and dump scheme. That's crazy. The lawsuit filed in the United States District Court for the District of Columbia on August 23rd claims Cohen had approached Arnal about a plan to control shares of Bed Bath & Beyond so they could profit. So these two people, basically, they got together and they conspired, and it was like, hey, let's try to see if we can, manipulate the numbers, lie to these people, and see if we can, make some money off of it. We'll split it. That's basically what they did. And he knew it was wrong, yet he decided to engage in this immoral conduct, knowing that he could potentially lose everything, including his wife, including his job and career, because he didn't start out as a CFO at Bed Bath & Beyond. He actually worked for several other companies before he ended up coming to Bed Bath & Beyond in 2020 during the COVID crisis. And he allegedly helped or tried to help Bed Bath & Beyond get back to, financial stability. But in reality, he really never did do that. He just lied, allegedly. He lied about them doing financially well when they really weren't. And we know that because the Word of God says what is done in the dark comes to the light. And in this case, in the dark, he was hiding the fact that there was financial crisis that Bed Bath & Beyond had been going through, and now it had finally was revealed 2 years later, when the company was basically having to close down most of their stores. Oh man. As part of the plan, the lawsuit claims Arnal agreed to regulate all insider sales. What? By Bed Bath & Beyond's officers and directors to ensure that the market would not be inundated with a large number of Bed Bath & Beyond shares at a given time. That is illegal. You cannot do that, what he did. This man was over there he was doing some really sketchy stuff. That is really unethical what he was doing. He knew he was going to lose that job too, because it was exposed. He knew it was all going to hit the fan. Before it hit the fan, he was like, I'm out. And that's what the enemy did. The enemy made him do that. It's so sad how you see the enemy going around tormenting the mind of these individuals, and they put so much value and hope into money. And the love of money is the root of all evil. That is the takeaway for this particular sad story, is he worshiped money. He made money his God. And he was willing to lie. He was willing to cheat. He was willing to manipulate reality of insider shares in order to acquire and accumulate money, which he worshiped. And that was what led him to end his life, because he was going to lose all the money that he worshiped. He then allegedly issued materially misleading statements made to investors regarding Bed Bath & Beyond's strategic company plans, financial condition, and reports of shares holding and selling to help increase share prices. This man was really unethical, the things that he did, the fact that he even agreed to do it. He materially misled statements made to investors. He lied to these investors. And he told them, oh, Bed Bath & Beyond is doing well. We're successful. We are stable. We're, the best. You should buy our shares because, you're going to make a lot of money and it's going to increase your shares and your prices down the line. And it was all a lie. And so all these shareholders went in and started buying all these shares up, and come to find out it was all a lie. We have to realize, you guys, that things that we do in the dark, it will come to the light. You cannot do things that are unethical and immoral and think that it will not eventually be exposed. It always gets exposed. That's why God put it in the Bible. He says neither add or take away from the word of God. And the reason why he says that is because he puts in various scriptures in there for you to be your guidance to you. And that's why it's really essential that you read the Bible, because you'll find that there's a lot of great wealth of knowledge in there about how to navigate this world. And one of those is that what is done in the dark will come to the light. It always comes to the light. That's why it's just live an honest life. Live an honest life. And your source should be finding happiness in the Lord. That is your source of where your happiness comes from. Because all the external things, they're all temporary. They don't last, number one, and they don't sustain your happiness. I mean, you'll buy a car one minute and you're happy with that car, but then later on, you'll find that after a while of driving that car, there's no more excitement with the car. Or whatever example you guys find. You buy a cute outfit or a cute purse or whatever. It's very temporary. Okay? You can have those things, but don't make it the source of your happiness. God is the source. Okay? So by the time Arnal sold over 42,000 shares in the company 2 weeks ago, it was valued at $1 million, according to marketbeat.com. The lawsuit was then filed just 1 week before Arnal took his own life. And I guarantee you, during that week before, he had been severely depressed. It was all consuming. It consumed him the whole week. He couldn't think, he couldn't eat, he couldn't sleep at night. He completely closed himself off to his wife. His poor wife was so confused. She didn't know what was going on. She tried to comfort her husband. Of course, he didn't want to share with her all the unethical things that he had done and all that was to come, because now all of it was going to start to be exposed slowly and surely, to the point where he was going to lose everything. And once she found out, she probably would have filed divorce. She probably would have been done with him, because he was going to also lead to them losing everything. They were going to go bankrupt, trying to pay off all these different victims, the shareholders. Yeah, he would have lost everything, and it would have been ongoing debt. So that's why that whole week before he took his own life, the enemy was torturing him the whole time. He couldn't escape the thoughts at all. It was a never-ending torment the enemy was doing in his mind. Working on the mind is what enemy does. That's his playground. His playground is your mind. Those thoughts, those hopeless thoughts. It's sad. So just a week before he took his own life by jumping from the 18th floor Oh my gosh, that was higher than what Chesley, because Chesley was on the ninth floor, I think it was. Was it the ninth floor or was it the 19th floor? I think it was the ninth floor. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he jumped from the 18th floor of the famous Jenga tower in lower Manhattan's Tribeca neighborhood on Friday. That was just yesterday. So sad. There he is, 52 years old. And his wife, you guys had to witness it. My gosh. I don't even want to imagine what she went through, because now she's replaying that over and over again, and she always will. She's going to have to get counseling. Gustavo, 52, was facing sued 1 week before. So he was being sued 1 week before he died for allegedly inflating the price of Bed Bath & Beyond shares in a get-rich-quick scheme. Wow. So people, they think this is just related to the fact that Bed Bath & Beyond was closing all the stores and it was now pretty much facing a financial crisis. No, the central reason why he did what he did was because of this issue. He was facing this lawsuit. The immoral actions that he had done to inflate the prices of Bed Bath & Beyond shares in this get rich quick scheme is what led to him running away from his problems and his choices and him ending his life. That's really where the central key thing was. And it was all these factors that kind of led up to him running away from it. And here's his family here. So sad. These are the people. So see, he thinks he ended it all right, but these are the people that suffer. His children, his wife, they are going to be suffering for the rest of their life because he decided to do this. Instead of being brave enough to face the consequences of what he did. You know, repent to God. He could have repented to God, cried out to the Lord to help him through this battle that he was going through. He could have been brave enough to tell his wife the truth and hope and pray that she would be willing to stand and fight with him. And the thing is, women are very loving and loyal. Some women are. I can't speak for every woman, guys, but women who most women that I know of who love their husband, if he makes a mistake, even into this grandiose, some women will be willing to stay and fight through it as long as you tell the truth. If you're willing to be brave enough to tell the truth, the women will stand the test of time, and they will be willing to stand by your side and fight with you in that crisis. But he didn't want to face it. Instead, he tried to take what he thought to be the easy way out when it really isn't. There is a spiritual world after death that you have to also face consequences in that afterlife. And now all these children here, these two children and the beautiful wife, are going to be suffering. And this lady here had to see the whole thing. Sad. Arnal Wright is accused of providing misleading statements and omissions to the public. He lied to the public in order to keep the share prices high. And he's pictured here with his family. So he lied. He lied to increase the value of the shares when in reality, the shares weren't even worth what they were selling them for. And this is him in the body bag, sadly, and them carrying him away. It's so sad. It's sad when you see the reality of what happened. Man. Gosh. That is sad. Imagine all the people that had to witness that had to see that. His wife, and not only that, but the people down on the sidewalk walking, maybe going to get coffee for the morning or whatever, they have to see and witness the whole thing. So Arnal Death jumped to his death from the 18th floor of a 57-story building in Manhattan's Tribeca neighborhood Friday, and this is them carrying his body bag away. Sadly, that is the building. Look how high that building goes, guys. Crazy. Oh my gosh. This just brought me back to Chesley Chris when I heard this story. I just start thinking about Chesley all over again, and because that's the same way she died. So sad. Man. Insane. So there it is in Manhattan. Manhattan, also, we've talked about New York a lot with Chesley Chris. It's a very depressing place, New York is. And sadly, a lot of people commit self-conclusions through jumping off the buildings. In fact, when Chesley Chris had self-concluded, only a week or so before, someone did the same thing in another high-rise building near the area. Arnal plunged to his death from the 18th floor of a swanky so-called Jenga building in Manhattan. That's the picture that we just looked at. The class action lawsuit was brought by Virginia resident, I cannot say this guy's name for anything, Pachang C, on behalf of all those who purchased Bed Bath & Beyond stocks between March 25th and August 18th. See, the reality was when COVID happened, Bed Bath & Beyond, like a lot of businesses, faced financial crisis. And he was hired on to be the CFO for Bed Bath & Beyond to restore that financial stability. But in reality, Bed Bath & Beyond never really recovered. They never did. He tried, but they never did. But instead of telling the truth and just owning that reality, he lied. He lied to the public. And he fooled them into buying all these shares that really were worthless, to be real. They really weren't worth anything. And he lied to them and inflated the prices so that all these victims here from Virginia and so on bought all these stocks between March 25th and August 18th, when in reality they weren't even worth anything. They are now seeking damages for the alleged pump and dump scheme, claiming Cohen offered to purchase a large stake of the company, including call options on more than 1.6 million shares with prices between $60 to $80. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. In exchange, the suit alleges Arnal would ensure that insiders would not flood the market with the stock. Wow, they were all into this like conspiracy. They were working together, Cohen and Arnal allegedly. He did so allegedly by making materially misleading statements and omissions. He left out the truth. There was a financial crisis going on about the company's financial standing in an effort to artificially inflate the share prices. That's what the lawsuit claims and alleges. Through mid-August 2022, Bed Bath & Beyond appeared from the company's public statements and financial reporting to be a successful turning around company, it alleges. But they really never did recover since COVID. That was the truth, but it was all a lie. In reality, it says, Arnal blatantly misrepresented the value and profitability of the company, causing Bed Bath & Beyond to report revenues that was fictitious, that was false, and announced publicly that the company is successfully on the way spinning off Bye Bye Baby to unlock full value of this tremendous asset. That is crazy. And this guy probably did this with other businesses that he worked for, allegedly. That's what I suspect, in my opinion. And he got away with it for so many years. See, that's what happens. The enemy gets people comfortable in engaging in this dishonesty because they keep getting away with it for so long. They think, oh, I can keep doing this, until eventually, like it always does, it catches up to these individuals, and then they don't want to face the consequences. Bye Bye Baby, though, was not actually doing well financially, the lawsuit says. And so here, just another picture. They're just showing another picture of them wheeling in his body into here. The truck here is sad. Looks like there's another body bag in there. I don't know if that's another body, but that's sad, man. Oh, my heart is so sad when I hear about self-conclusions because of how many people are impacted too. The city EMS officials responded to the incident and were seen carrying the man's body off in a black body bag. And that is the photo here that they're describing. Oops, sorry guys. That was just my home screen there. And here's just the security here closing off the building. The man, who has yet to be identified or named, was pronounced dead before leaving the scene. So he just died instantly. We already know that was more than likely going to happen based on the fact that he jumped from the 18th floor. So that was an instant death. It was, nothing that they could do. And here is the actual crime scene here, or I just say the scene, basically, because it's not really a crime. But there's the law enforcement and everybody there at the scene. That is the medical vehicle that they used. So pretty sad. A second person, also unidentified, was hospitalized with minor injuries, according to the spokesperson for the FDNY. Their condition is unknown. So guys, when he jumped, somebody might have been walking or something, and his body collided with someone else and caused injuries to that person. Wow. I'm speechless. So he injured somebody while he was taking his own life, causing other people harm as well. So you see how grandiose these things affect not only the person, but it affects other innocent people, the family, co-workers, everybody, society. So sad. So, man. Then on August 16th, Cohen filed a document to the Securities and Exchange Commission saying he owned 9.4 million shares, including 1 million shares, over 1 million shares under certain call options. It also claimed he held onto his April call options that would only begin to pay out if the stock hit $60 a share before January 20th, 2030. So he was basically trying to get Arnal to make the stocks be valued at $60 per share so that he can increase the value of his own payout. He was soon granted 3 seats on the board of the company, the lawsuit alleges, but had actually sold most of his shares in the company at that point. Instead, the lawsuit claims Cohen submitted the document for the purpose of creating a buying frenzy of the Bed Bath & Beyond stocks so that Cohen can finish selling his shares at an artificially inflated price. Dang, so Cohen was in on the scheme to try to sell all of his shares at this fake high price, when in reality the shares weren't really worth anything, to be honest. Dang, that's crazy what they were doing. I'm speechless. What do you guys think about this story? Stock prices rose 75% that day, the lawsuit alleges, but unbeknownst to shareholders, it claims that same day, Cohen also filed a form signifying his intent to sell the remainder of his shares and call options. And see, his whole thing was he knew the business really was in a financial crisis. He knew those shares that he owned, all the 9 million shares, including the 1 million shares under certain call options, all those, he knew that those shares were at no value to him. So he had Arnal conspire with him to lie and say that this company was doing well in order to sell all of his shares and get some type of return on it, manipulate the prices basically of his return. That's sad. It was not disclosed to the public until the market closed the following day, when shares tumbled from a record high of $30 per share to around $22.50 a share. Wow. That's crazy. So the public didn't even know the lie. They're over there buying all the shares, and all of a sudden, then the shares lose its value. Then after Arnal and Cohen filed a form saying they sold all of their shares on August 16th, the stock went down 45% to $16.16. Isn't that crazy? So they inflated up the shares to sell all their shares, knowing they had no value. And then after they sold all of their shares, the stock went down 45% to $16. That's crazy. But it gets worse, guys. It then continued to plummet to $8.78 on August 23rd, down more than 70% from its high of $30 a share. And by September 4th, which is today, Bed Bath & Beyond was trading at just $8.63. Isn't that a shame? That was what the shares were originally worth in the first place. Before all those victims of the class action lawsuit bought all the shares at $30 per share. But see, they lied and inflated it up to the $30 per share. I think it was also like they inflated it all the way to 60. And then they hurried up and sold all of their shares because they knew their shares weren't worth anything. And once they sold all their shares, they were like, oh, okay, now we can disclose that that Bed Bath & Beyond is in a financial crisis, which made the shares plummet down to what it really was worth, which is $8, a little over $8. So this gentleman here, let's see who he is. According to a lawsuit filed in federal court, majority shareholder Ryan Cohen, which is pictured. This is the guy who was in conspiracy with Arnal. He was the one that had the 9 million shares. Let's pray for this guy too, guys, because he may also try to think about self-concluding because he's on the hook for his immoral conduct too, which he'll be facing a lot of responsibility for that as also. So just pray for him because these things happen in pairs and clusters, and he just needs to be cloaked in prayer. And hopefully his family is trying to intervene for him because he is probably really depressed right now too. So this guy, Ryan Cohen, that's pictured that we just looked at, approached Arnal about a pump and dump scheme in which they would both profit. So they were both in on this conspiracy together. Crazy. Oh my gosh. So look, this is the photo here. It shows us the shares and how it plummeted. It's now $8.63. That's what the share is worth now. And it closed at September 2nd. And you can just see the static fall here. Oh my gosh. Wow. That is a shame. By September 2nd, the company, which was once trading at over $30 a share, remember, they were trading at $30 a share because it was based upon a lie, inflated numbers because of the scheme. But by the time it hit September 2nd, they were trading at $8.63. And that's when all those people realized they were scammed. The lawsuit also claims that as the CFO, Arnal knew about Cohen's false filings with the SEC. So they're saying they're basically saying that Arnal, he knew about Cohen basically falsely filing with the SEC. They were just doing all kind of false things. He knew all these conspiracies going on. It further claims he discussed their exit strategy. They talked this whole thing out, y'all. His exit strategy with JP Morgan Securities, LLC, before they sold off their shares. They planned the whole scheme out, how they were going to do the exit strategy and all that stuff. It's just a shame. It says that they have done so for self-serving, improper, and bad faith reasons, namely a desire to profit from the sales of their Bed Bath & Beyond shares, and have violated their fiduciary duty by making false findings, issuing misleading statements, and pumping and dumping Bed Bath & Beyond shares. Man, that is so sad, dude, what they did to those victims. And then he didn't want to face the consequences. It says that they have done so, or we were talking about that. Then the lawsuit then claims JP Morgan Securities aided and abetted the operation to launder over $110 million worth of illegal insider trading proceeds. Wow, he did all kinds of stuff. Daily Mail has reached out to Bed Bath & Beyond for a comment. Of course, they're not going to respond. I bet they probably didn't even know what was going on, which is why once it got disclosed, Arnal knew he was going to lose everything. He was, and once this was disclosed, nobody's going to want to hire him after that. He would never be able to get a CFO job again. He knew that. That's why he didn't want to face the consequences. Arnal Arnal's stock dump came from the same day a 20-year-old college student made $110 million by selling all of his Bed Bath & Beyond stock. Wow, so a 20-year-old kid, this is the 20-year-old kid here, he sold all of his stocks that day and he made $110 million. Wow. But he did so just before the retailer's stock price slumped 23% after his second biggest shareholder indicated plans to sell his entire holding. So he was able to make money. This 20-year-old kid, college student, he was able to make $110 million from the inflated shares. I don't think he had anything to do with the scheme. He just happened to just sell his shares at the time that the shares were falsely inflated. So he was able to reap the benefit of that at $110 million. Wow. Crazy. That's crazy. 20 years old making that kind of money. So here, let's just read about this guy before we go into the article again. It says, an applied mathematics and economics major at the University of Southern California, Jake Freeman, 20 years old, made a $110 million profit by selling all of his Bed Bath & Beyond stock on Tuesday, nearly a month after investing in 5 million company shares at $5.50 per share. That kid's one smart kid, I'm telling you. Imagine, we don't hear about 20-year-old kids making smart choices to invest. And just the right time, he was able to sell those shares and make that kind of money. That's crazy. Jake Freeman, an applied mathematics and economics major. We talked about that. I think this is all the same stuff we just read. So he spent a total of $25 million with the help of a wealthy pharmaceutical investor uncle. Okay, so this kid's privileged. He comes from privilege, guys. His uncle is very affluent, and his uncle is a career investor. He invests a lot, and so he basically helped his 20-year-old nephew by helping him spend $25 million to invest in all these different shares. And so he got the help of his uncle, basically. As a result, he became a minority shareholder by owning around 6% of America's largest houseware goods specialty stores as it became the latest ailing retailer to see a surge in its value thanks to the ongoing meme stock boom. That sees amateur investors snap up stock in companies seen as past their best, helping to drive the share price up and making some lucky stockholders who sell at the right time millions of dollars. So yeah, if you like, for him, he just sold at the right time. He got very lucky, and he was able to reap the benefits of the scheme, not knowing that it was a scheme that was going on. He just got lucky, and he comes from privilege. He comes from an uncle that can give him all the money he needed to basically invest. I wish we had that benefit. Okay. Freeman, whose family resides in the New York City area, then roughly sold more than $130 million. Dang, I wish I had that kind of money, man. $130 million worth of stock on August 16th, similarly to Arnal after the retailer's stock price surged to $27 a share. Crazy. Just 1 week after the damning lawsuit was filed, Arnal plunged to his death from the 18th floor of the swanky so-called Jenga building in Manhattan. Authorities says calls regarding the jump at 56 Leonard Street near Church Street came in around 12:30 p.m. on Friday. And so he did it during the midday. That was crazy. He chose the midday when people were out and about, people were busy walking those sidewalks, and, he could endanger people, which he ended up doing because someone got injured. Arnold was identified as the jumper at the 57-story building where apartments go for up to $50 million. Dang, $50 million for an apartment building? Apartments, just for the apartment itself goes up for about $50 million. Dang. And it's interesting that he chose the afternoon hours when that's like lunchtime, that most people are out and about, to end his life that way. That's what happens. These people they lose They used sight of rationality. They just totally shut off all reason, all form of reason. And the enemy clouds them with so much turmoil that they lose sight of reasonableness or rationality, and they don't think about anything. They don't think about the consequences. They don't think about who they're going to hurt. They don't think about anything like that. All they care about is trying to stop the thoughts, stop the torture, not face whatever consequences that they're going to face. And this one, he didn't want to face liability and possible criminal charges and possible significant economic charges and losing his career and family and everything, and shame and embarrassment to his family. The city's EMS officials responded to the incident and were seen carrying the man's body off in a black body bag. A second person, also identified, was hospitalized with minor injuries, according to the spokesman for the FDNY. A woman was seen. Okay, this is the wife. This part right here, guys, this is sad. This is sad right here. Listen up. It says a woman was seen looking distraught and crying near the building. Dang, that was her there watching the whole thing, guys. That's sad. Oh my gosh, poor wife. So she's seen looking distraught, crying near the building before eventually entering the ambulance. Oh no. So she went into the ambulance with his body. So sad. The FDNY spokesperson could not confirm the age and gender of the person hospitalized. Dang. That is so sad, you guys. Man. And these are all the law enforcement that was there. This is the actual scene. So they captured a photo of the actual scene of the tragedy. Man, this is so sad. I just wish we could stop self-conclusions. They're the most sad stories to cover. Police remained on the scene following reports that a man jumped to his death. So they were all there kind of standing around, kind of protecting the scene. Here's a video of the scene. I don't know if there's going to be an ad, guys, but I'll try and see what it says. If it's an ad, then I don't know. I might just mute it. I knew it.
We have scholarship.
I knew it. Let's see if we can get rid of the ad. Hopefully. A few more seconds. Hang in there, guys. Okay, I think it's over. So they did that video to kind of show you the scene, to see exactly where it happened. And you can also see that car, it said medical examiner. So the medical examiner actually came to the scene to examine the body and the scene and everything and make their analysis as a part of their determination of cause of death, of course. So it was, very sad. Just, so my heart breaks for everyone involved. The chain is ditching its strategy of focusing on private labeled products as it seeks to improve its finances. So they're just kind of giving you guys a background of what's going on with Bed Bath & Beyond. Here's another photo. They said the website for the structure lists such sorry, that word is getting me tongue-tied. Amenities as library lounge, an indoor-outdoor theater. They're trying to do like a landscape outdoor, sun deck, hot tub, a fitness center, yoga studio, steam room, sauna, private dining room. They're trying to like add all this stuff to try to see if they can save the business, but I don't know. I think it's just probably not going to work. Sad. His death came at a difficult time for the company as it faced high inflation and a sagging economy. The company had announced plans to close 150 stores of its roughly 900 stores that they have, and they were going to lay off 20% of the staff just 2 days before Arnal's death. And back in June, the CFO, Mark Tritton, was fired. So the CEO was fired. Oh my gosh. So there was a lot of stuff going on at this company, guys. Back in June, the CEO, Mark Tritton, was fired after sales plunged 25% in the first quarter. The company has since hired Sue Gove, an independent board director, to replace him on an interim basis. There was just a lot of scandals. Bed Bath & Beyond will close 150 stores and lay off 20% of its staff as a sales plunge by quarter. Retail chain Bed Bath & Beyond announced their major layoffs late last month as high inflation and a sagging economy hammer large U.S. companies. So they just announced that last week when the month was almost ending in August. Bed Bath & Beyond, which has become the latest meme stock darling for the small traders of Reddit, announced plans to close 150 stores of its roughly 900 and lay off 20% of corporate and supply chain staff. The big box chain, once considered a so-called category killer in home and bath goods, has seen its fortunes falter, with the CEO, Mark Tritton, who eventually got fired in June after sales plunged 25% in the first quarter. Wow. And so this lady here, she took over for him. You see her. Her name is Sue Gove. She took over as the interim CEO of Bed Bath & Beyond earlier this year as the CEO. All right, so while there is much work ahead, our roadmap is clear, and we're confident that the significant changes we've announced Tuesday will have a positive impact on our performance, she said on a conference call. But there just seems to be so much scandals going on. Let's see. There's a little bit more to read over here, so I'll probably continue to read this. They said the company hired her. Gove said the retailer was continuing to see significant positive momentum and intended to build its deep heritage as a retailer. I don't even know if I believe anything they say now, because now that the CFO is going around lying about the prices and the business doing well, I'm just like, wait and see with this company. Do not invest in their shares. Wait and see how they do, because it seems there's a lot of scandals going on. I mean, even they couldn't even keep the CEO, and now the CFO was involved in some scandals. It's just, this company doesn't seem like a credible company, in my opinion. While there is much work ahead, our roadmap is clear, and we're confident that the significant changes we've announced today will have a positive impact on our performance, she said on a conference call. I don't know if I believe her, guys. I'm just going to wait and see, because too much scandals going on with this company. The retailer also announced a plan to raise money by issuing new shares, and said it had secured $500 million in new financing, but investors took a dim view of the strategic plan, and shares fell as much as 25% in the morning trading. Traders on the Reddit forum Wall Street Bets, who have cheered the stock in recent weeks, reacted with a mixed view of despair. Basically, they don't really believe this company is going to be restored. As I feel, I'm just kind of skeptical now about this company, period. Too much weird stuff going on with the company. I just wanted to make money without any effort. Why I have to suffer like this? Why? Wrote one user on the forum. That's sad. That's probably a guy who invested in the stocks at the time that Arnal and Cohen had been in this scheme to misinform the public. In Wednesday's update, Bed Bath & Beyond also forecast a bigger than expected 26% slump in same-store sales for the second quarter, and said it would now retain its Bye Bye Baby business, which it had put up for sale. So they were going to sell that Bye Bye Baby business, but now they're going to keep it. I don't know if that's going to help, because that business wasn't even doing well also. Once known for providing many shoppers with 20% off coupons, Bed Bath & Beyond revamped its merchandise in recent years to focus on private labeled products, including our table brand cookware. The chair is now ditching that strategy. They're nixing three of its private labeled brands and reprioritizing the national brand with labels like UGG and Calphalon, Dyson, all these weird labels. Underpinning that strategy, I don't know if it's going to work to help them. Good luck to them, I guess. Executives said Bed Bath & Beyond is cutting about 20% of its corporate supply chain. The company has about 32,000 employees overall. So it's sad. A lot of them are going to be laid off. Meanwhile, Snap CEO Yvonne told staff in a memo on Wednesday that ad sales were not keeping up with earlier projections and announced plans to reorganize and cut roughly 20% of the company's 5,600 employees. It looks like they're going to eliminate its chief operating officer and chief store officer roles also. Dang, so they're laying off like people in higher positions too. Not just the regular employees, but they're laying off chief operating officers and chief store officer roles. That's crazy. I pray they're able to recover from this, but it's not looking good, especially with this new scandal going on. I don't know how. We'll see what happens. Unfortunately, given our current lower rate of revenue growth, it has become clear that we must reduce our cost structure to avoid incurring significant ongoing losses. That's what Spiegel wrote. And let's see what else is going on with this company. Snap will shut down ambitious projects, including mobile games, novelties like flying drone camera, helping the company save an estimated $500 million in costs annually. The company said investors approved of the move, with shares of Snap rising as much as 15% in morning trading. Spiegel said Snap was restructuring its business to focus on company growth, revenue growth, and augmented reality. Anything that doesn't contribute to those three areas will be discontinued or receive substantially reduced investment, Spiegel said. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about Bed Bath & Beyond? Do you think they're going to recover from all this tragedy? Also, what do you guys think about the CFO who, and this guy here? I'm just worried about him now that this is going on. I pray he doesn't do anything drastic. But let me know what you think about this sad story. So sad. May this gentleman rest in peace. I pray for his wife and his children who now have to live with the loss of this. It is just very, very sad. Sean, if you don't want to follow me, you don't have to follow me. My page is for those who want to hear the truth. You don't have to follow me, and you don't have to be respectful. One of the things that I have on my page is to litigate your case with dignity and grace. What that means is when you have a comment and you may disagree with someone, state your opinion, but be kind and respectful to other people. You don't have to agree with me, but I will speak from my heart and from my experience, and you don't have to follow me. My page is not here to try to get followers. I just talk about current events, and whoever wish to hear, they are. And if they don't, they don't. You're not hurting my feelings. I don't know if you wrote that. To try to hurt my feelings or something, but it doesn't affect me in any way. So I will go ahead and block you so that you don't have to follow me, and we both do each other some favor. All right, so take care. Yeah, Purple Love, his wife was actually there. It's sad. She was there and saw the whole thing. So pray for her family. Purple Love says she has a right to express her belief in God. If you have got a problem with people expressing their beliefs, then leave. Thank you, Purple Love. I love and appreciate you so much. It's true. And that's why I put on my page, litigate your case with dignity and grace. We're not going to agree. We're all different people, and I respect your opinions just as much as you should respect mine. It doesn't mean that you should be rude or disrespectful. I never understood why people are rude and disrespectful because someone has a different belief. It doesn't make any logical sense to me. It's like, why are you getting mad and your feelings hurt because I have an opinion? Everybody's different. No one's going to have the same belief as you have. So why are you mad at me? All you have to do is say, hey, my opinion is this. I don't agree with your opinion, and this is my opinion. And then they go and be like, oh, I'm not gonna follow you. That's why I'm not gonna follow you. Okay, boo-hoo. What do you want for me to say to that? Because I don't care. I don't care. All I care about is trying to get information out to those people who want to hear. And I want to hear other people's opinions because I respect other people's opinions also. Just like I would hope for the same back from other people. I'm not rude to you, so I just would ask that you not be rude to me, and you could just state your opinion, and you could be kind and respectful, and I would be kind and respectful to you because we're all human beings and we should respect each other's opinions. Okay. And yeah, like Jetty was saying, idolatry. It's true. Idolatry is one of the leading reasons that lead people down dark roads of self-conclusion because they idolize certain things. They idolize spouses, they idolize money, they idolize their achievements, their accolades, their fame. And then when these things are threatened to be taken away, they can't handle it because they worshiped it and they thought that that was the source of happiness, when in reality it isn't. In my opinion, I believe it's God because that's the only thing that I've found in my life that brings joy to me. And I know of other people that do. And if you don't agree with that, hey, that's your opinion. But my opinion is my opinion. He really looks like Ronald Reagan between. Oh, you think so? What do you guys think? Does he look like Ronald Reagan? Maybe so. Yeah, it is Purple Love. It's sad. Purple Love. Did you see the other one that we just covered on this channel? There was another self-conclusion that just happened that we just finished talking about yesterday or earlier this morning. The young lady, what is her name now? I don't even remember her name. Oh, Nina Pochecki. She ended her life August 27th, and now this gentleman does this, and it's like, man, back to back to back. You already know what we talked about, Chesley, that this was going to happen, and this year has been a very sad year. Very sad year. So sad. Gustavo couldn't accept failure. Life is so hard and it's hurted him deeply. Exactly, Purple Love. You summarized it to a T, that he could not accept failure. He couldn't accept, facing the reality of his consequences. And so he ran away from them by sadly ending his life. And that wasn't the right choice to do, but because his mind was so clouded by all those thoughts that the enemy placed in his mind, he listened to the thoughts. He listened to that, and because his value was in money. And the whole reason why he did this was because of the love of money. That was the root cause. He agreed with Cohen. They entered into this conspiracy to make money because they worshiped the money. That's why God says the love of money is the root of all evil. And yeah, Purple Love said, can't believe his wife was actually there. I know, Purple Love. That part was like the most heartbreaking part when I found out she was there. I was like, no, why does she have to see that? It's bad enough she has to live with this for the rest of her life, and her and the kids are going to have to go through therapy. But the other sad part about it is she had to see it. So then she has to replay the trauma in her mind repeatedly. She'll never be the same. Oh, it's so sad. I wish he wouldn't have done it. I wish he would have just held on. Yeah, Purple Love, you're right. Purple Love says he was afraid he was going to lose everything he worked hard for. Exactly, Purple Love. Exactly. In my opinion, I think that was the root cause. I do. I think he was afraid of losing it all. His family, his career, his home, his finances. He was going to go bankrupt because it was a class action lawsuit. And you guys already know about class action lawsuits. Those lead to significant financial loss. All the people that he's going to have to pay back. Yeah. And possibly, if the DA got a hold of this case, he could have been facing criminal charges too. So it was a lot more deep situations going on that was not disclosed yet. And he didn't want all of that stuff being disclosed and coming out as it was starting to come out, as you could see with the lawsuit and the Bed Bath and Beyond disclosing their financial struggles. He saw all this stuff coming out and he just didn't want to face it. And that is very sad. And I pray he rest in peace. All right, guys, thank you for listening to this story. I send much love to you. As I mentioned, please be kind in the comments. There's no need. There is no need to be rude and disrespectful just because you don't agree with someone. I just don't understand why people do that. Why do you get mad because someone else has a different opinion than you? So whatever you guys say in the comments, just be kind and respectful. This is a very sensitive topic too. There's, a loss that happened that was tragically taken away, unfortunately. And just be kind in the comments. All right, love you guys. Take care. Happy Sunday.